Hello and welcome to Newsroom series today. I'm Olumide Macaulay. We'll bring you up to speed with the happenings in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. However, our focus for today is the southwest region. And we begin in Ogun State, where the government has asked residents not to panic due to the ongoing flash floods, which is a natural phenomenon, but instead to stay calm and obey all the necessary precautionary measures to mitigate it. In a statement signed by the State Commissioner for Environment, Dr. Olaore Sonya, the assurance became necessary to stop them from panicking, as well as remind them of the measures they must heed, which are aimed at safeguarding lives and property during this rainy season when predictable flash floods are prevalent. He reminds residents on the need to stay indoors when it's raining or stay in a safe place while on transit. Motorists and commuters are also advised to avoid the temptation to cross flood paths until the flooding recedes, which is usually within 1 or 2 hours. Households and community leaders are equally advised to ensure that all construction along drainage channels and canals are removed. He warns residents as well to expect more torrential rainfall in the next 3 weeks, which is the first peak of the rainy season, appealing that they can contact the State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, and the Flood Emergency Management Response Team at the nearest local governments in case of any emergencies. The House of Representatives Committee Chairman on National Planning and Economic Development, representing Yewa North and in Ogun State, Boyega Isiaka, has called for more understanding and support of the federal government's current reforms in critical sectors of the nation's economy towards revamping it. He was speaking in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, during a press briefing where he also addressed some national issues on public accountability and economic development. According to him, the reforms have continued to yield positive results, improved investors' confidence, and increased foreign direct investment.
Since assuming office, Mr. President has pursued a reform-driven economic agenda anchored on difficult yet necessary decisions. From the removal of fuel subsidy to unification of foreign exchange rates, these measures have begun to yield measurable outcomes. Foreign exchange reserves have risen from $32.9 billion at the end of 2023 to over $38.45 billion today, June 2025, while the federal fiscal deficit has narrowed significantly, signaling stronger financial discipline and improved economic management. Also, our exchange rate policy has yielded a stable and predictable exchange rate that enhances planning and encourages greater direct investment inflow to the economy. While inflation, which has previously risen to alarming level, is now beginning to trend downward. The recently passed tax reform bill represents a major step forward, optimizing revenue collection, reduced leakages, and enabling more sustainable investment in infrastructure and social services. The economy is gradually gaining resilience. Growth projections remain steady, with GDP expected to expand by an average of 3.5% through 2026. Monetary tightening by the central bank is beginning to rein in inflation, creating the fiscal space for a more balanced and productive economy. Indeed, where would we have been without these bold decisions? Instead of taking the easy path that offers short-term gain but long-term pain, the president has chosen a courageous and necessary leap, and we commend him for that. His leadership has inspired growing confidence that Nigeria is turning the corner.
To more national development, advocates of sustainable development say current global realities have made it necessary to revisit and review the initial strategies mapped out to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals as adopted by all United Nations member states in 2015. It's the 5th International Sustainable Development Dialogue held at Osun State University in Osogbo. The dialogue, which is an initiative of the Global Affairs and Sustainable Development Institute of the institution, was convened to brainstorm and chart a course towards action for achieving sustainable global peace. The SDGs, known as Agenda 2030, with 17 goals and 169 targets, were formally adopted in September 2015 But speakers at the event emphasized the need to review the initially mapped out strategies to ensure the effective realization of the goals. They also cite ongoing crisis in parts of the Middle East as a major reason organizations must engage in deeper dialogue and foster greater collaboration in order to develop practical solutions and mitigate the consequences of such conflicts. With the theme, Sustainable Development in the Age of Crisis, Humanity, Science, and a More Equitable World, the event also focused on innovative approaches to addressing global security, environmental challenges, and development.
Strategies mapped out to address issues under stable times are less likely to work under unstable times. That is the reason why we have decided that there was a need for us to revisit the Sustainable Development Goals, especially against contemporary context, and to see what we can do to be able to achieve those goals, negotiating the present conditions of things.
Today's discussion or dialogue is one of the examples that the partners or stakeholders, countries from different places of the world should be engaged in a discussion. So the discussion shouldn't be dominated by, for example, Global North, and as I mentioned that the voices from different backgrounds should be considered in the process. Global sustainability is kind of a thing that no one can achieve alone.
People that think the environment is just a resource to make money, and they'll do whatever it takes, even wars, to make money. And other people that evaluate and appreciate nature in a different way. And we know that nature is sacred, and we know that without nature we cannot live. There is no life force, there is no ashe. So we are here in a conflict, and this war, all the wars that are happening, are really showing us the true face of people that are very greedy, and they prefer war to life.
Now, in a push to curb the growing menace of substance abuse among Nigerian youth, the First Lady of Lagos State, Dr. Abijoke Sanwo-Olu, underscores the need for robust awareness campaigns as a frontline defense against drug abuse and illicit trafficking. She made the call during a high-impact awareness campaign held at Lagos State University Ojo campus to mark the 2025 International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. Dr. Abijoke Sanwo-Olu described drug abuse as a silent killer and destiny destroyer, calling for early interventions and active community engagement.
Wife of the Lagos State Governor, Dr. Abijoke Sanwo-Olu, the Deputy Governor's wife, Oluremi Hamzat, and their team visit the Lagos State University to campaign against drug abuse and are received by the University Vice Chancellor, Professor Ibiyemi Olatunji Bello. The drug abuse awareness kicks off as they move around the school premises with their placards, passing various messages on the negative effect of drug abuse. The advocacy walk terminates at the Buba Marwa Auditorium, where critical stakeholders, including the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, LASU War Against Drug Abuse Team, the Lagos State Ministries of Health, Youth and Social Development, and other advocacy groups, all in attendance to deliberate on how to win the war against drug abuse, particularly among students.
At LASU, our goal is to build a drug-free academic environment, one that nurtures excellence, discipline, creativity, and purpose. We believe that a university is not only a center for learning, but also a community for shaping responsible, value-driven citizens.
LASU student representative, the State Ministry of Youth and Social Development, and the chairman, House Committee on Youth and Social Development, emphasize on collaborative effort to win the war against drug abuse.
This epidemic, all hands need to be on deck to combat this. All hands need to be on deck to combat this. That is why I want to say a big thank you and commend the office of the First Lady for coming up with this program. it is important that we all look at ways that we can ensure that we can engage our youth.
Let us rise, not as victims, but as vanguard. Let our campuses become spaces of strength, not struggle. Let us commit today, not just to awareness, but to accountability and action.
I want to appeal to you, young ones. I want to appeal to you. Stay away from it. It is not good for you. It's not good for your future. Your children have sent you here to be great in future. When you go into these things, you terminate your destiny.
For the state NDLEA commander, the fight against drug abuse is everyone's business, and that can be won by intensifying grassroots advocacy.
We cannot do this alone. We need families, schools, religious and traditional leaders, and most importantly, the youth themselves to say no to drug abuse and illicit trafficking, and yes, to a better future. Together, let us commit to prevention, stand against trafficking, and give hope to those in recovery.
Dr. Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu says her office is determined to tackle the rising menace of substance abuse with a charge to parents to monitor their children.
Somebody is on drug, he's killing his mother or cutting the heads of babies. So by the time you start hearing ugly things like that, you know that there's real war out there. And whatever you need to do to stop this war, we definitely need to do it. So for we, the mothers, the women, we need to be stronger advocates. We need to use our mouth constructively. We need to mobilize, gather all the network that we have to ensure that we kick out this menace.
The drug abuse awareness is part of the 2025 World Drug Day campaign to strengthen action and cooperation in achieving a world free of drug abuse. Invest in Lagos and Nigeria at large.
Well, that was at an educational institution to another one, but for another purpose. This story has to do with the Times Higher Education, which has ranked Afe Babalola University, Abuad, number 84th in the world and third in Africa, and the first in Africa in the Sustainable Development Goals 7 for affordable and clean energy. Now let's run through for you some of the other rankings that Abuad has been able to afford. So first in Africa, SDG 13 for climate change, and second in Africa, SDG 1 for no poverty. Third in Africa, SDG 17, partnership for goals. First in Nigeria, 2022, 23, and 24, and 2025, as well as in climate change, first in Nigeria, and first in Nigeria, SDG 17, partnership for goals. Speaking in a press conference in Ado-Ekiti, the state capital, the legal luminary, represented by the acting vice chancellor, Professor Olasupo Ijabadeni, explained that the propellers of their success story are attributed to resilience and dedication of Afe Babalola towards making the university a true citadel of learning, making waves in other sectors such as health, agriculture, and law.
Gentlemen of the press, I stand before you to announce with immense joy and with deep sense of gratitude to the Almighty God, the maker of all things, that this 15-year-old Afe Babalola University Ado-Ekiti, Abuad, which commenced academic works on its permanent site on Monday, January 4, 2010, has been ranked amongst the first 100 universities in the world. As a matter of fact, the Nyombo Progressive University has now been ranked by the Times Higher Education Impact Rankings as follows. Number 84 in the world. Remember the dream of our father, just to be one amongst the 100. That is, if at all it is number 100. But today, within 15 years, it's now number 84 in the world. Number 3 in Africa. Number 1 in Africa in SDG 7, that is affordable and clean energy, with a score of 83.3%.
You're watching Newsroom series. Coming up, we'll be bringing you a story on how tanker accidents has been a recurring decimal in some roads in Nigeria. That when we come back, please stay with us.
Stay connected to the world with Channels TV Podcast and get all the trending stories. Simply log on to channelstv.com, click on podcast, select the program of your choice, and listen. Our podcast is available on Apple, Google, and Spotify. Tap the expertise you trust. Touch the stories that touch you. Anytime, anywhere.
Welcome back to Newsroom series. Now to crime prevention, the Assistant and Law Enforcement. The Assistant Inspector General of Police, Zone 2, says all stakeholders involved in the boundary dispute between Oyo and Osun states are committed to a peaceful coexistence. This is in Oyo. He disclosed this while addressing officers and men of the Oyo State Police Command during a stakeholders engagement at the command headquarters in Ibadan. He also says there has been a series of meetings among community leaders within the local government area of Oyo, Lagelu, and the Iwo local government area of Osun on the need to maintain the peace and avoid an escalation of violence amongst the communities affected by the dispute. The Oyo State Police Command officially welcomes the AIG Zone 2, Mr. Fred Ekokutu, to its Eleyele headquarters with the usual fanfare. The conference hall of the command is filled to capacity as officers and men of the command, chiefs of sister security agencies, community leaders, transport unions, and other stakeholders converge to discuss security issues affecting the state. Mr. Ekokutu notes that the engagement is crucial as security requires collaboration of all segments of society, and one major area that needs attention is the boundary dispute between Oyo and Osun states, which is being addressed by all involved to achieve a desirable outcome.
There's no achievement under chaos, under situation of insecurity. There will be hunger. If farmer cannot go to the farm, who will farm and produce for us? So security is the bedrock of any development in any society. So we join everybody to have inclusive policing, no rivalry. You are from the Air Force, you are from the Navy, you are from the road safety, custom, NDLA, OTMA, Amataku. Our goal is one. We want everybody to go back to their homes and sleep with the two eyes closed. Not that you are sleeping and you are afraid, or you are driving on the road, you are afraid of being attacked. So I call on everybody to join hands with my commissioner of police so that it will perform a duty to the benefit of all and sundry.
The Oyo State Police Chief commends leadership provided by the zonal AIG, which he believes is crucial and effective, and asks for more junior officers to make the command more effective in its operations.
I align my leadership with the Inspector General of Police vision of a professionally competent, service-driven, and people-friendly police force. This vision aims to foster stable economic recovery. To achieve this, I conducted an immediate assessment and implemented a strategic 8-point action plan tailored to the specific needs of the good people of Oyo State.
The plan focuses on responsive policing and includes strict enforcement of all existing laws, capacity building for police officers through training and retraining, advanced intelligence and technological-driven policing, increasing layers of supervision for the officers and men of the command, implementation of inclusive policing strategy with emphasis on community policing.
To bridge the gap of inadequate manpower, the AIG says more men are underway for the command.
President of Nigeria, Senator Bola Tinubu, he has graciously approved the recruitment of police, 10,000, maybe twice or 3 times a year, which is ongoing. I'm telling you now, there are some police being trained in our various police colleges and training schools. And when this recruit pass out, it will boost the strength of the command. They were recruited from each state. And whenever they pass out, they are posted back to the state if they are recruited. So if it's 100 recruited from Oyo, the 100 will go back to Oyo.
The engagement was a free interactive session with critical stakeholders within Oyo State to discuss their areas of operations with the leadership of all security agencies present. Now, the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, Zubaida Umar, has appealed to drivers and other road users to always obey traffic rules in order to avert fatalities due to fuel tanker explosions on the highway. He stated this while addressing a workshop on an awareness campaign on tanker accidents and the fire incidents on the road, held in Akure, the Ondo State capital.
The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, is collaborating with the Ondo State Sector Command of the Federal Road Safety Corps to mitigate incidences of tanker. As part of this partnership, the sister agencies organized a one-day awareness event in Akure, the Ondo State capital, as part of continuous efforts to sensitize tanker drivers, tipper lorry drivers, commercial transport operators, as well as the representatives of the Road Transport Employers Association on preventing tanker accidents and fatalities and the scooping off of fuel on the highway.
The campaign aims to equip all stakeholders, that is the drivers, emergency responders, government agencies, community leaders, and the general public with the awareness and practical tools necessary to reduce the occurrence and impact of tanker accidents. Prevention starts with knowledge, and response starts with training. While appreciating all participants for their quick response to this workshop, I implore all of us to actively participate and contribute in the deliberations and come up with measures to ensure that we reduce the occurrence of tanker accidents and fire disasters to its minimum in Ondo State.
While statistics on the number of accidents vary from state to state, it's no less a source of worry for the sector commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps in Ondo State, Dr. Samuel Bitwe. He believes it's high time to change the narrative through collective effort to create awareness
of tanker crashes and the hazardous fuel scooping by unsuspecting members of the public have continued to result in avoidable fatalities, large-scale fire outbreaks, and environmental degradation. Collaboration and synergy are essential if we are to prevent the tragic consequences that follow tanker crashes and the unwholesome practice of fuel scooping. In recent times, we have recorded several cases where members of the public rushed to scoop fuel from falling tankers, to mention among others, Jigawa State, where we had 200 people killed. It is therefore our collective duty to change the narrative through awareness, advocacy, and enforcement.
These campaigns aim to inform the public about the dangers of fuel scooping at the accident scenes and the importance of reporting faulty vehicles or suspicious activities. While their mandates are different, NEMA and FRSC are working together to ensure rapid response to tanker accidents, provide on-site assistance, casualty evacuation, and scene management.
From fuel tanker accidents to agriculture, and this is in Ondo State. The Ondo State government has flagged off the distribution of 165 fodder choppers to livestock farmers across the state, an initiative aimed at improving feed quality and productivity. The move is part of the Livestock Productivity and Resilience Support Project, or LPRESS for short. It's also a joint initiative between the Ondo State Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Forestry and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. The fodder choppers are designed to cut feed into smaller bits, helping ruminants like goats and sheep digest it better and absorb more nutrients.
This distribution exercise we are witnessing today is not just about the handover of equipment. It's a significant step towards solving one of the most persistent challenges that has bedeviled livestock production across the country, amongst which are poor feed utilization efficiency and low productivity among smallholders farmers. In Ondo State, we recognize the importance of sheep and goat farming as not only a critical source of a livelihood and food security for thousands of rural dwellers, but also its untapped potentials in propelling inclusive economic growth. However, this has remained elusive due to the issue of inadequate and low quality feed our farmers have been grappling with, especially during the dry season when forage availability declines drastically.
The state coordinator of LPRESS, Olufemi Ogun, on the other hand, speaks about the importance of the equipment that they have to boost livestock production.
Intervention is not just about equipment. It is a symbol of Ondo State government through the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry subsector commitment to value chain development, mechanization and support to grassroots agriculture.
And that's it on Newsroom series today. Thank you for watching. I'm Olumide Macaulay.